One of the most serious challenges that producers face is songwriter's block. You may have all the right synths, all the right plugins, all the right presets, but when you go to do the thing, it's just not working out. And believe me, I've been there. I went through a 2-year stretch one time where I was working on a double album release, and everything I was doing and trying to throw at the music, nothing was happening, so I had to walk away and abandon the project completely. But thankfully, I've gotten over my songwriter's block and employed some new techniques which I'm going to share with you in today's video. So if you're dealing with songwriter's block now or sometime in the future, you can use these techniques to help you get over songwriter's block once and for all. Anyway, thank you for being here, and let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so here we are in Ableton Live 12. The goal with today's video is to talk about the topic, how to get over songwriter's block once and for all. Okay, so the first suggestion that I have for you is get out of your own way. Stop trying to control every sound or moment. Ambient music thrives on unpredictability and letting things unfold. Let go of perfectionism and allow the process to breathe. All right, so I've got this track that I'm working on here, and it's not done. It's a work in progress, but you can hear it just kind of starts off uneventfully, right? Nothing too crazy about it. And then the sequence comes in right here. Now, one of the things that I was doing during that 2-year period I talked about in the intro was I was trying to control things too tightly, right? So if you allow this process to just happen and allow moments to happen, you're gonna find that the process becomes a lot easier, okay? So what I mean by that is, instead of having this bass sound here at the beginning, let's go ahead and join this sound here. So I can move this bass all the way out here. Maybe we'll start this bass over at bar 16, right? So instead of having that at the beginning, the track can just kind of open up like this. And maybe then the sequence comes in. Beautiful sequence. I love that. This is from Serum 2 here. Very simple sequence. The one silver bullet here is LFO2 is set to random sample and hold. And that's actually kind of modulating the filter a little bit to give it a little more movement. I like to start my cutoff filters way down here around 150 Hertz. So I'm making sure that it's nice and covered to kind of give other elements a chance to, you know, soak up that high end, if you will. I like that. So now that this bass comes in a little later, the process is starting to unfold, right? Each element has its own sort of voice, and that's what I'm talking about, allowing the process to breathe, all right? So I've got another sequence here, and it's sort of hidden in the background. Let's go ahead and solo this for a second. It's nice, but the thing is it's probably in the same key range as the other one. It is, right? So the way I would deal with this is I'd say, okay, well, I could either keep it as it is, or I could adjust that. So right now it's set to B2. We're playing in B minor, by the way. So maybe let's go up to B3. Nice, okay. That's a nice contrast. Now they sort of have a little bit of separation. Let's go ahead and take a look at the patch. That's again another sort of saw sine combination here. I like that. Let's go ahead and lower the cutoff down. It's very nice on its own. I think it's a good sequence on its own. A little too extreme on that cutoff filter there. Nice upper harmonic pluck. So that's running at 16th notes. The other one I think is running, let's go ahead and check it out. Yeah, it's running at 8th notes. So 8th notes and 16th notes, that's one of the ways that I separate my sequences, is having them run at different speeds. I'm happy with that. That's good. So again, getting out of my own way, allowing this process to just happen. I'm not trying to force things. I'm not trying to push too hard. It's really important, okay? So that's the first suggestion I have for you is get out of your own way. Allow the process to breathe. Let go of perfectionism, all right? It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be great, all right? Anyway, so the second thing I have for you as a suggestion is get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Creative breakthroughs often come when you abandon your usual tools or familiar sounds and embrace uncertainty as part of the ambient process, not something to avoid. So, getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. It's a really important thing because a lot of times when we work, we want to feel like we're in control, but often the biggest breakthroughs come when we sort of abandon all that and just venture off into the unknown, all right? So one of the things that I like to do is I'll add like a sound here that's really gritty and dirty that you don't really know where it's coming from. It's like outside of the realm of this nice smooth ambient track that we have started, all right? So to do that, what I'm gonna do is use Serum 2. So let's go ahead and grab Serum 2 here in our main synths folder. And what I'll do is I'll use the envelopes to sort of modulate certain parameters, such as the warp modes, to kind of give us this almost like laser beam sort of, cosmic ray, if you will. So I'll just leave this as it is, the default sawtooth wave, and I'll make a first envelope, and that's gonna be our volume. The second envelope, though, is gonna be our sort of like modulator envelope, all right? And what I'm gonna do is switch this to FM, and FM coming from B. So I'll say FM from B. This is the first warp mode here. And I'll use envelope 2 on that warp mode, all right? Now B is off currently. So what I'm gonna do is turn it on, and then I'm going to switch it to a sine wave, okay? And I'm gonna turn it all the way down. So now you can hear when I play, I get this almost like laser beam effect. Yeah, I've got the reverb turned up. Oh yeah. Very nice. So again, this sine wave is modulating that sawtooth, but it's doing it just like sort of underneath the hood, if you will, because like I said, it's all the way off right now, but it's still being used in the warp mode. That's really cool. Serum 2 has 2 warp modes, so we can use this again. Let's go ahead and do Alt Warp. We'll do like the ASYM plus minus, so watch this. Oh yeah, we'll use this envelope on that. Oh yeah. So now that ripsaw is going all the way across, and every time that envelope fires, we're getting a new, I love that. I love that. So this would be a nice sound to have like sporadically, right? Throughout the track, maybe it's happening every once in a while. Now, one thing that we can do to sort of take advantage of that is use one of the new features in Waymaker. Now, Waymaker is a sequencer. I've showcased it on the channel already several times. But they just came out with a new version. It's a great update, so I highly encourage you guys to update if you haven't already. Let's go ahead and grab Waymaker here. Now with Waymaker, what we're gonna do is we're gonna utilize the new beat sequencer. It's not a new thing to Waymaker, however, he did change it. He made it a lot more useful. So I'll change this to beat, all right? And we're gonna make it, say, 16 steps. And instead of Euclidean, let's go to morphing rhythm. And then let's lock some of the stages, all right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to just kind of long press some of these, which is locking them in place so they're gonna be always locked as off, which is really cool. That's good. And maybe we'll lock the first one as on here. There we go. And yeah, we'll just leave it like that. I will make one change, I'll say 4 changes every loop, and we'll leave this as quarter notes. That's cool. And now we'll put a step sequencer after this, okay? And we'll make sure that our step sequencer is set to B minor, because that's the key of the track that we're playing in here. Let's go B minor pentatonic. And let's just, add some notes here. There we go. It's good. I like this. And so one thing we can do is instead of transpose MIDI, we can say generate, okay? And here in the note length, we can say hold until the next note starts. So that means that Waymaker is not gonna advance until it gets a note or gate from the beat sequencer over here. This is a new feature that he just added. So I like that. I think that's cool. Let's put an F sharp up here. There we go. Let's see how this sounds. Let's go ahead and rename this Waymaker. Waymaker number 1. And we'll add this to our laser beam that we just created here. So Waymaker number 1. Waymaker. Oh yeah. Oh, very nice, very nice. Oh yeah. So here, oh, nice. So Waymaker is only gonna give us a note every time, you know, this gate or this beat sequencer fires off. And it's gonna pick one or the next one from this step sequencer here. This is a really cool way to create, you know, different sequences here. Like super original. I've wanted this for a long time. We finally got it. So anyway, I like that. We'll call this Serum 2 Beam. Love that. So that's nice, right? That's a nice addition. Again, we went back to Serum 2 and, you know, we did something that was sort of uncomfortable, right? We put ourselves into a situation where we had to kind of think our way out. And that's really driving home the second point is like, put yourself in a situation where you're comfortable being uncomfortable. You don't really know how it's gonna sound until it finally, you know, gets to the end result and you're like, oh, okay, that's cool. I like that. That's good. Maybe we'll change Waymaker's overall octave here to the octave 3. That might sound a little better. Oh yeah, there we go, perfect. Okay, so that's point number 2, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Point number 3, give yourself an impossible challenge. Set a wild constraint. 1 synth only, make a track with no reverb, or finish a track in an hour. These boundaries create unexpected results and short circuit the part of your brain that overthinks. So these are often like mind experiments. Like maybe you try to do a track in say an hour or 2. And say, I'm gonna start a track and finish the track within this 2-hour block. Maybe you write an entire track in just using one synthesizer, like Serum 2. From the basses to the pads to the plucks, everything, the drums, all of it. It doesn't have to be Serum 2, it could be Pigments, it could be Vital, whatever you have. Or maybe you don't use any third-party plugins at all. You say, okay, I'm just gonna write a track using all the native plugins in my DAW. These kind of, you know, thought experiments and mental challenges help you sort of engineer your way out of problems that you might, you know, often rely on, you know, more comfortable methods of working, like using the same plugin over and over again, or using the same, you know, compositional methods. These are great ways to kind of get out of your own way. And again, embrace the impossible challenge, right? Avoid songwriter's block by, you know, challenging yourself to go beyond where you went before. So anyway, we got this track here. Sounded pretty good. I like where we're going so far. But what we need to do is kind of give it a more of a melodic, you know, leaning, if you will. So I'm gonna chill out this beam for now. Let's go ahead and chill this out. And, you know, let's move on to the next part of the track, okay? And maybe it just comes to a point where the bass is in and one of the sequences, all right? So let's go ahead and turn off this sequence. I like that. All right. So now we're at sort of the unknown zone. We're sort of like in the deep zone here, okay? What do you hear? Because what I hear is something very isolated and underneath the whole thing, kind of like a, you know, a chime or a gong or something very deep, okay? So let's try to create that using maybe synthesis, all right? Let's use Pigments, okay? Grab Pigments here. And what we'll do, maybe let's use the modal engine and we're gonna put it in the beam mode. That's always a favorite technique of mine these days. So we'll go modal and we'll put it onto the resonator type as beam, okay? Let's make sure our envelope is all set up so we're gonna have a nice long decay. And yeah, we'll set this to transient. We'll go organic here. So for now, we can sort of leave the right side of the modal engine alone, the exciter section, if you will, so we can turn the volume off. You could set that to noise if you wanted to give it a little more grit, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna get sort of a single chime, right? That's really nice. Okay, I like that. So what we're gonna do is use that. Very nice, very nice. Let's add some exciter here. Nice, nice, nice. We can change this to noise again. Pink noise, very nice. You can quantize it if you wanted to. Okay, let's add some reverb to this. Let's crank it up. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah. Let's go to the effects section and I'll add a multi-band compressor so you guys can hear this. Let's go ahead and add a multi-band here. Oh yes. I like it, I like it. There, right there, okay? That's really nice, that's really nice. Again, the exciter is optional because what that's gonna do, it's gonna give it sort of an infinite sustain. Or what I just thought of, we can have the envelope itself control the exciter. Nice. So as it dies down, the exciter dies down. Oh, perfect. Again, I dragged the amp envelope over to the exciter. So now it falls down. Oh, that's perfect. I love that. Oh my gosh, that's great. Fantastic. Okay, so now we have that in place. I like that. Okay, let's add some notes here. Let's go ahead and add some octave notes here. So we'll go Control-Shift-M, making a new MIDI clip. Again, your DAW may differ. I'm using Ableton Live here. Feel free to follow along in any other DAW. Okay, so we'll say, all right, we'll go 1 bar here. Very good, very good. Add an octave here, and maybe this octave can come in way later. Right, and then we can hit the fold here like this. So that note can hang on a little longer. And then maybe over here, we'll turn off fold for now. We'll add 1 more. Ooh, I like that, okay. That's a high B note right here. Let's add that. Very nice. And that's an F sharp. Okay. Very good, all right. Excellent, okay, we're cool. All right, so let's leave that as it is. And we've got this in place now. We got a little delay to that. You know, your mileage may vary, but again, that was just one example of the modal engine doing its thing, okay? Adjust the warp mode to taste here. This is gonna sound really good. Check this out. I can't wait. Yeah. Oh. Such a nice sound, such a nice sound. Let's bring back that pad over here, okay? So we'll bring back the pad at this point. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, there you go. So again, like challenging yourself, like, okay, I'm just using one synthesizer and that synthesizer is allowing me to sort of flex my producer and sound design muscles in different ways. And again, it doesn't have to be just one synth, it could be anything. But you see what we're adding here? We're adding context, we're adding musicality to our ambient track, all right? I love this. All right, let's bring back the beam here. Let's bring back this guy right here. Oh yeah. See, it's all coming together. It's all coming together. I love it. All right. So that's point number 3 is give yourself an impossible challenge. All right, cool. So, final point here. No fear and do it anyway. Now, this is sort of a paraphrase quote from the book from 1987 called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. But I think knowing and feeling are sort of the same thing. And, you know, here's what I have to say about that. That weird patch or unusual texture that you're unsure about, lean into it. Fear is often a signal that you're onto something original. So maybe there's a sound in your track that you're not quite, you know, settled on, or you feel like, you know, you're working on a preset or working on your sound design and it doesn't quite sound right yet, but you know there's something there. That's when you sort of, you know, that feeling in your chest sort of bubbles up. Lean into that. Lean into that feeling of like, oh, I'm uncertain about where this is going, and maybe it'll lead you somewhere that you never thought existed before. Okay, so let's kind of lean into that whole idea here. I've got a sound that I was working on before we started. This is an Omnisphere 2. Now, Omnisphere 2 is a very, you know, it's an expensive synthesizer. Not many people use it. However, not only is it sample-based synthesis, but it's also virtual analog, all right? So I've got this sound here that I was kind of unsure about. Listen to this. Oh yeah. Let's go ahead and add some effects here so we can hear it. Let's go ahead and add a compressor. We'll go to dynamics and we'll go precision compressor here. There we go. So you can hear that. It's kind of unique. It's very interesting, right? There's something there though. I'm like, right? And maybe after the compressor, let's use, say, the creative inner space, okay? Now, inner space is this really unique effect which takes one sound and allows you to sort of like filter it through other samples themselves. I've never really seen this done anywhere else, right? So we'll go say, all right, let's go to textural, how about metallic, clay cow slide? Like what? Do you hear that? Like it just gave it a whole different type of texture. Scatter, let's go scatter. Metallic. Copper grid. Oh yeah. So that sound that we had at the beginning, which again, came from this random reverse coffee can felt. I have no idea what that means. But still. Oh yeah, let's listen to it with the rest of our track. You hear what I'm talking about? Oh my gosh. It adds a whole nother contextual layer to the track that was never there before. It's partly organic. It sounds synthetic in a way because we put it through that inner space. Oh my God. That's so good. Oh, I love it. I love it. So again, it doesn't have to be Omnisphere 2. It could be any sample-based synthesizer that you have. Maybe it's a sample library, maybe it's a field recording, maybe it's a granular synthesizer. There's a great onboard granular synthesizer in Ableton Live 12 Suite. It's called the Granulator 3. You could use that. You could use the granular engine in Pigments. Like anything. Oh my God. That's so good. Wow. So again, we never would have known unless we dove into the unknown. And that's the point I'm trying to make, is no fear and do it anyway, right? Oh my gosh. So now that we've done this, I think the track has a much better perspective because I'm sitting here and playing the reverse coffee can and listen to this. It just sounds so much better, right? And so now I feel like our track is gonna go somewhere. Like we've really gotten to that next level. And that's from just pushing ourselves, from, getting over the block that we might have had, right? And again, this might be you. This might be something that you're dealing with. But like, how can you employ these strategies and these techniques to take your music to the next level, to allow yourself to break through those boundaries? And sometimes those boundaries didn't exist at all. Anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. I certainly enjoyed making it. I love videos like this because it allows me to, showcase some production techniques at the same time, give you guys ideas about the production process to hopefully help you guys in some ways so you can take these techniques and apply it to your own work back in the DAW. And if you want to learn more, I am on Patreon. I literally have hundreds of hours of videos on there. I've been doing it for 4 years. That's not an overestimation. There's hundreds of hours of tutorials over there, hundreds of preset packs. And you can join for $12 and get access to all of it. So I'll leave a link down below in the description for that. I'm still doing the 15-minute free consultation on my website. So if you want to take one-on-one sessions with me and really take your music to the next level, you can check that out. I'll leave the link to my website down below. You can sign up for free, 15 minutes with me, and you can get to know me, and maybe we could work together. So that's an option for you. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. If you are dealing with songwriter's block now, if you've dealt with it in the past, maybe you can share techniques that you employed with other members of our community. That would be great. And this has been a lot of fun. Anyway, thank you guys for being here. And I'll be back again soon with more videos just like this one. In the meantime, take good care, you guys. And as always, keep your heads in the clouds and your feet planted firmly on the ground. I'm Chris from Signs of Life. I'll see you guys in the next video.